Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to the Ask the Expert session for Microsoft Edge State of the Browser. We are coming to you from the Seattle area where the rains have started, so our summer is over. Thanks for joining us today. We have lots of great folks on the line to help answer Edge-related questions, but we have a bit of housekeeping to go through first, so let's start there. We go through the next slide. So how to engage with the expert. So use the chat to ask questions. Questions will appear to all attendees once we have approved them, and you can upvote your favorite question by using the thumbs up. We will answer questions verbally. For those of us who are on camera, I will call people out and say, hey, can you answer this question? There are also other people in the background who are helping answer questions and publish as we go. So that's how we will engage with each other. Etiquette, so the session may be recorded. So help our moderators do not spam or post inappropriate comments in this chat. This is my fourth Ask the Expert session. So far, everybody has been really great. So let's make sure to keep up that. We do have a code of conduct, and that was pasted in. Here it is for your review. Again, I don't think this is the first time that you've likely seen this over the last few days. And so with that, let's go ahead and get started. So just a quick round of introductions for the people that you have available today. So my name is Colleen Williams, and I'm a senior program manager on the Edge team. Our team focuses on the, my team focuses on the enterprise and security features, and I did a video recording for State of the Browser. So that is an overview of all things Edge related to enterprise security, some other developer areas, things that we've done since last year's Ignite, and things that are coming. So hopefully you'll have a chance to check that out in the Ignite catalog. Aaron Ash, an introduction?
Yeah. Hi there. My name is Arunesh Chandra, and I'm a senior PM on the Edge team, especially focused on security aspects of the enterprise deployment of Edge. I've actually posted some videos around browser isolation and data loss prevention, information protection, things like that. So I'll be happy to answer any questions if you might have along those lines.
Kyle?
Hi, my name is Kyle Flug. I am a PM on the developer experience team. I'm happy to chat about anything related to the developer experience in Edge, dev tools, web apps, web view, things like that. So happy to be here.
And Steve.
Hi there. My name is Steve Rue, and I lead the enterprise product team in Edge. So pretty much anything enterprise related, hopefully I can help with here.
Awesome. So I see we've got lots of questions that have already started. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Steve, I'm going to ask this, send this question over to you. When will the allow sites to be reloaded in IE mode be available in the stable channel, and what group policy setting will it correspond to?
So I missed the first part of the question.
Yeah, so this is from Anonymous. So when will the allow sites to be reloaded in IE mode be available to enable in the stable channel, and what group policy setting will it correspond to? And Shilpa,
I'm not sure of the answer to. Shilpa on the chat might have more information that she can reply to in line if she has that handy.
I saw Shilpa was typing something and then she stopped. So hopefully Shilpa will be able, who is our IE mode expert. Oh, I see she's replying to the post now. So that is awesome. Thank you. I'm going to go to the next one from Rob Hayward. Ink on PDF was not put in Chromium Edge. It was there before. What gives? So yes, that is actually something we are working on. When we built out the new Edge on Chromium, there were some features that were in Legacy Edge that didn't quite make it over into the new Edge, but we are hard at work in getting that feature parity. So that is in plan. I'm going to take a question from Anonymous. Are there different group policy settings for Edge versus Edge Chromium? And Chris Jackson, who's one of our people in the background, has answered that question. You can download the latest ADMX templates for the new Microsoft Edge at ak.ms/Edge Enterprise. Lots of great information is available on that link, as well as downloads, but the ADMX files are there, so that's awesome. As I continue to look down, Steve, I'm going to send this over to you. This is from Danny regarding kiosk mode. So will there be a way to further lock down the browser UI for a hybrid kiosk environment?
Yes, and so there was some content in Colleen's State of the Browser talk that points to the documentation for this. But what's available today in essentially preview is a way to experience the kiosk mode both through assigned access and not. And we'll continue iterating there with the non-assigned access stuff targeting GA hopefully early next year, and then the assigned access portion of it coming in shortly thereafter. I don't have any specific dates there, but roughly early next year for each of those things to have that experience of locking down the browser either through the command line or using the Intune experience through assigned access. And so both are available for preview today, and we'll share a link to the documentation where you can learn more.
Perfect, thank you. Lots of questions, great questions are coming through as I'm reading through. Apologies for, let's see, as I read through. So Kyle, I want to send things over to you. We had some great announcements yesterday, specifically Linux coming to Edge. Can you briefly describe what that is and what users can expect and expand on that announcement?
Yeah, happy to. So I think, as folks hopefully had a chance to see in the announcements yesterday, we announced that we're bringing Edge to the dev channel on Linux starting next month. So in the same way that we have preview channels on Windows and Mac OS that are Canary, Dev, Beta, and Stable, we'll be taking the same approach on Linux starting with the dev channel. Linux is actually a little unique in that Chromium doesn't have the concept of a Canary or daily channel on Linux, so we'll be starting with dev just to match Chromium. So that'll be a weekly release focused on web developers. And when I say focused on web developers, what that essentially means is, we want people to be able to build and test their sites in Edge on Linux if that's your home environment for development. So it'll support all the things you expect from Edge on other platforms, from a kind of site rendering, behaviors, developer tools, test automation, all that kind of stuff, starting with this dev release. And then we're really working on fleshing out the experience over time to provide, the sort of consumer and business experience that we provide on other platforms as well. So folks have questions about the kind of specifics there, and I'm happy to get into that, but that's the high level announcement.
Awesome, thank you. Here's a question from Anonymous. Does the new Edge Chromium include all of the features of the old one plus more? So I touched on this just briefly, not quite. So I think the PDF space are areas where we're still getting to parity of Edge. When we started building out the new Edge, we took a look at the features that Legacy Edge had and took a look at the usage numbers. And so we really wanted to be thoughtful about features that we brought over. If things were low usage, we wanted to figure out why that was and how we could reinterpret that particular feature into the new Edge on Chromium. So we have been taking some time with that. If there's a specific feature that is missing that you would like to understand, would love to know more about that. Here's a question, Steve, I'm going to send this to you. I think you're going to have a lot here. So from Anonymous, how does Edge determine when to switch between work and personal profiles with the automatic profile switching? And is it configurable?
Yeah, so there is some configurations that you can do in the settings to choose which experience you want, of whether to stay in the current profile or jump more aggressively and things like that. There's a couple of options there for you to choose. Currently it works essentially off of best case hints of what it seems like would be the best way to try to access the site that you're on, which we continually try to improve and make smarter as we learn and go further.
Great. And Steve, I'm going to stay on you. There are lots of questions about IE mode, and while they are specific questions, I'm wondering if you could just give a 1 to 2 minute rundown of IE mode, and then we can also, Shilpa, I'd love if you could put in a link to your video that you did so people can understand more about IE mode as well. So Steve, if you could just do a brief overview of IE mode, what it is and how people can utilize it.
Sure. So a quick overview of what IE mode is it allows you to define a site list such that the sites in that list need to be rendered using IE functionality. Namely, that's generally because the page relies on ActiveX or some equivalent tech that only works in IE. When that is defined for your organization, when a user does navigate to a site that is on that site list, the new Edge will actually use the IE11 engine to render the page, and that all happens seamlessly for the end user. So they're forward, back, it doesn't open a new tab, it's all in line. It's just like they navigate to any other page. It's relatively seamless for the end user. It's just a configuration on the admin side to set that up. And some of the exciting work that Shilpa actually created a video for on our YouTube page of our next steps in thinking for IE mode and how we can expand on the scenario. We'll start getting into areas of using the M365 Admin Center to actually be able to add, remove, edit, see the history, and configure different lists for your organization. And additionally, providing support for allowing you to not only host the site list in the cloud, but host it in the cloud behind authentication, which is the new part there. So if it's important that folks outside your organization can't see the contents of the list, we'll make sure that there'll be a way to host this essentially in Azure. And point your clients there to download it in a way that does require authentication, so it is kind of contained to your organization. And then further iterating on those scenarios and making room for the workflows and stuff that we know many organizations have already created to manage these lists of who and when these lists can or cannot be updated in terms of additions and removals and things like that, including exposing a lot of these things through the Graph APIs, such that if you already have existing automation for doing some of these things, you can just tie that into to our experiences and ultimately leverage the goodness of the substrate in our cloud, while you can still manage your workflows with minimal change.
Awesome. I'm going to just expand on that a little bit because there's 2 more questions here. So how long will Edge support IE mode? We don't have an end date for that. It is a feature in the new Edge, and so there's no end date. And to follow along some other question about if you remove IE browser from Windows as a feature, IE mode will actually not work. So right now we currently have a dependency on IE11 being on the box in order for IE mode to work, and so that will need to stay there.
And I will add that we are doing work to essentially enable that scenario, but it's Colleen's correct. Today the experience is it would stop working, but we are working on ways to improve that for you.
Steve, don't go anywhere. With Edge, this is from Ronnie. With Edge Legacy ending life in early 2021, as we announced in August, is there a plan to replace that with the new Edge version in Intune, specifically in the single app kiosk mode?
Yes, and so we're running full steam ahead on the kiosk scenarios. Like I mentioned earlier, we are have previews available for the 2 different setups there for the single app kiosk scenarios. And as part of the more complete and the GA of the assigned access portion of that scenario, that would come along with the integration in Intune to configure and set that up. And so that should be available sometime early next year, which I understand is a little bit tight on the timelines, but it should be there early next year.
Awesome. Kyle, there was a question about tab containers. I was hoping you could take that question, and I have lost it in the chat, unfortunately.
Sure, happy to take that. So I think the question was whether we plan to implement a tab containers feature similar to one that's available in Firefox. I think the feature that's being described here is essentially taking the session data tied to one site and kind of containerizing it so that you don't have cross-site tracking that might leak out to other tabs, for example. So this is definitely a request we're interested in hearing about from kind of users and also from businesses that might be interested in this for your environment. I think that there's sort of the tab isolation scenario, we're also looking at, would this be something that makes sense to do for web apps, for example, to have like data isolated on an app by app basis for PWAs, you can imagine. So we don't have any firm plans to announce here today, but definitely would love to hear kind of more on your scenario. And if you're sort of giving this feedback from an end user perspective, always happy to see that feedback sent via the send feedback tool in the browser as well. I know this is something that the teams are tracking pretty closely.
Great, thank you so much. Aranesh, I'd like you to talk a little bit. Your feature got talked about by Satya in both Inspire and Ignite, so that's awesome for you. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about endpoint data loss prevention and that feature that's coming.
Yeah, so happy to talk about that. We have announced a month back about a public preview for a Microsoft Endpoint DLP, which is going on, and hopefully we hit GA next month. So the good thing about that DLP feature is that there's a native integration available in Edge. So using Endpoint DLP will not require any kind of agent to be installed on a Windows PC or inside a browser, so there's no plugin required. So this actually helps you kind of do DLP with Edge in a more efficient way. It's more performant, and the DLP experience feels very native to the apps you're using. So yeah, I think Microsoft Edge is the first browser which has this native support across various different types of DLP solutions available, including Windows Information Protection and Endpoint DLP. So especially in times where remote work is getting a great emphasis in the workplace, to be able to have control over the corporate data, DLP is a great solution for you to kind of look at. And I have posted a specific video on how to configure DLP using Edge. So I would recommend you go check it out. So yeah, Microsoft Edge has a very unique and differentiated value prop here for customers interested in DLP.
Thank you so much. Awesome. We have a couple of security people here ready if you have any security related questions. I see some Linux questions, Kyle, so I'm going to go back to you. This is from Mary B. Will Edge on Linux support extensions? Will the developer tools be the same? And what are the priority areas for dev support for web development on Linux, if there's anything that you can touch on in those areas?
Sure. So I think the short answer for the areas you mentioned is yes, we do support extensions, the same developer tools. I think I forgot the third area you mentioned in that question, but for those three, you should expect to see parity with what you'd find in Edge on other platforms as well. So if you don't, I guess what I'd say is we would see that as a bug and hope to see and address feedback pretty quickly. So in general, those areas though, from what we're seeing in our early internal builds, there's a very high level of parity with what you see on other platforms. As far as our focus areas for developers, the constituency that we are really kind of aware of and trying to provide a great experience for as we look at the Linux market is web developers who may use Linux-based kind of CI/CD environments for their tests. So we've really worked to make sure that test automation, using frameworks like Puppeteer, WebDriver, Playwright, things like that, works on Linux just as it would on other platforms, as well as working in general with development environments on Linux. So we've tried to support the same VS Code extensions, integration with the browser, and other scenarios like that light up on desktop platforms. There are a couple areas where the experience is pretty early that are mostly kind of around end user browsing scenarios. So for example, in our first builds, we don't expect that signing in and syncing through your Microsoft account or through your AAD account is going to work. So that's something that'll be coming in future previews, but kind of the core browsing experience, basic tools like collections, developer tools, all that stuff should be at a very high degree of parity.
Awesome, thank you. Steve, back to you. How will Edge and Intune integrate, and can you manage Edge settings with Intune? You are
Sure.
on mute.
So
Yeah,
I was on mute. Yeah. So there's a couple pieces there to unpack. In terms of managing the settings, there's really two flavors, and the one that we support today is the device settings, and so it's more of the MDM support where you apply the setting to the device, and the entire device needs to be enrolled with Intune, and all of that scenario that I'm sure most of the folks here are familiar with. What we are working on, and it's one of the videos that I created that's on the YouTube site if you wanted more information on it, is we're actually bringing the capabilities, the MAM-like capabilities, to the new Edge as well. And this is for both app configuration and app protection, where we're leading with the app config and the app protect scenarios where we'll follow, where you can, through Intune, manage which settings to apply essentially to a user's profile. So when a user logs into an Edge profile with their work account, only in that window essentially of Edge will those configurations apply, whether it was the home page or IE mode or the new tab page experience, or whatever other settings you want to set there. If they were to go to use a personal account or a different work account even, those settings wouldn't apply, and they'd be used to their normal experience. So they could go and use the Edge on any device anywhere, whether it's a corporate owned device or their own device or a friend's device, and have a similar experience and be able to access and do their work things in the way they'd expect to be able to do them without the device ever needing to be enrolled and managed as a whole by the enterprise. And so that's coming relatively soon.
Great, thank you. There's lots of questions on extensions. Kyle, I'm going to tee you up for one of them, but in general, extensions management is available via group policy. We are receiving quite a bit of feedback from enterprises that they want a better way to manage these extensions. And I know that the team is really working on that and trying to improve that experience. I don't have a lot of details to share there, but I just want to acknowledge the extension questions that are coming and hope to follow up with more documentation on that shortly. But Kyle, this question is regarding Manifest v3. So what are Microsoft plans regarding extension Manifest v3?
Yeah, thanks for that, Colleen. I think the short answer here is stay tuned. I think we have some updates that'll be coming in the pretty near future on the Edge blog, so keep an eye out for those. I will say the extensions team has been working in the Chromium community on the declarative net request proposal that's part of the Manifest v3 proposal. Working with the Chromium community, working with extension developers to really understand how we can make sure that developer needs are met, while kind of understanding the intent of these changes as well. So we'll have a blog post coming with our plans around Manifest v3 and how that'll roll out to extension developers, and supporting documentation in the very near future.
All right, thank you. This question is from Danny. Fill and sign in the same style as Adobe Reader would be great to have built into Edge for PDFs. You are correct, Danny. That is the #1 feature we are getting asked for from enterprises. The team is rapidly working on that, so we do know that that is still being worked on, and customers like yourselves are anxiously waiting for that. So that is great there. This is an IE mode question. Steve, I'm going to kick this to you. So with IE as a dependency for IE mode, does it mean there is no IE mode on other platforms?
That's correct. IE mode is only available for Windows, and more so specifically on versions of Windows where IE is still in support. And so it does require Internet Explorer to be a supported thing on the version of Windows that you're using. Even though the broader browser of Edge has a little bit more of a lax requirement on the system requirements to be supported.
Thank you. This question, a very popular question from Matthew, and I'm going to go ahead and take it. When will Microsoft end support for IE11? IE11 is a part of the operating system, so it is supported on the life cycle of the operating system for which it is installed. So there no end date there, but ak.ms/IE lifecycle is your starting point, but that hopefully should help you out. I'm going to take this other one from Anonymous, and I think this relates to a couple of other questions I saw. So what is a best practice or approach to take when rolling Edge out in enterprise network to determine what may break? List available. I saw somebody else comment that in statement of supports for other software, you'll see an exclusion listed for Edge on Chromium, but yet Chrome is supported. So what can you do? I will say, so our Aperture program is there free of charge. So if a site or an application works in Edge Legacy, standalone IE11 or Google Chrome, it absolutely should work in the new Edge. And so our Aperture team is there to help you. That's ak.ms/Aperture. I believe that link is on another slide here that will show shortly. For best practices to rolling out, if your company allows, we recommend rolling out the beta channel to a small pilot of folks. We've seen anywhere from 100 to 1,000 people rolling out the beta channel for a period of time to get feedback, understand what works, what may not work, and allow you to go ahead and get ready for the next release of the stable channel. We also announced, I had a slide in the state of the browser regarding rollback, and Andy Ziegler did a video regarding rollback as well. And so rollback is being made available shortly. So if you upgraded to the next version of Edge and something is broken, you can roll back to the previous version. So please go check that video out, and hopefully that helps you in a best practice on how to roll out Edge. Will EdgeM be EdgeM? It's a fan favorite name to call the new Edge, EdgeM, be replacing legacy Edge in the Windows Insider builds? Yes, and it already has. So the Windows 10 20H2 version that just shipped has the new Edge as the default browser. And so the legacy Edge has been removed from that. So the new Edge is the default browser on the latest Windows 10 versions, and legacy Edge is removed. And that's the desktop support. I will say Edge HTML continues to be supported, as that's a key component of the Windows 10 operating system, but the legacy Edge browser is removed when the new Edge is there. Lots of great IE mode questions. I encourage you to go check out Shilpa's video. I think we've just got a few minutes left. Kyle, can you go to the last slide? I want to make sure we get a couple of things here. All right, so we've got some on-demand videos, ak.ms/edge YouTube. So there's about 12 videos available there that are deep dives regarding security, PWA, WebView 2, MAM support that Steve spoke about, IE mode, lots of great things there. We do have a Reddit AMA coming up next week, and so this is focused on enterprise. We've done some Reddit AMAs in the past. This one is very enterprise focused, so we will have more folks there. We will go ahead, if there are questions that you still have or want to have an ongoing conversation, that's a great spot. Our Fast Track and Aperture program. So Fast Track has Edge added into their list of software that they help with. So if you need help deploying Fast Track, then ak.ms/edge Fast Track is a spot there. And I briefly touched on Aperture, so feel free to go check out our Aperture program to make sure that you can all of your software and stuff works at that point. Our ak.ms/deploy Edge. That has all of our enterprise documentation. So all of the people on this Ask the Experts have all written documentation. We own that documentation site, so please go check it out. That allows you to plan, deploy, configure, and all of the enterprise and security features available. And then, of course, if you don't have Edge installed on your system, please go download it at ak.ms/edge enterprise. I think we only have 1 minute left, and I thought I might get out of it, but I'm not going to. Would it be possible to re-enable Flash in Chromium Edge after the sunset date? So we did publish a blog post about a week or so ago on Kyle, if you could find that blog post and put that link in the chat, that would be really superb. So we have partnered with Adobe, who has another partner named Harmon. And so reach out to Adobe and/or Harmon, and they will continue to help you with your Flash needs post the December 2020 date, but Microsoft will no longer support Flash, but you can work with Adobe and Harmon in order to continue to utilize Flash for a bit longer. The blog post has all of the information in there, as well as who to reach out to from those companies. And Ask the Experts is not complete unless we have a Flash-related question. All right, we've come to the end, and I just want to thank everyone so much. Please make sure to check out our resources and our call to action slide here. We're ever present on Twitter at MSEdgeDev, and really appreciate everyone's time and questions.